Urgent message. The truth has been discovered, and it's closer than you think. Chosen one. Someone in your circle of friends has been moving in silence, pretending to care while plotting your downfall. Your guides are shouting at you to act now before this person strikes again. You've sensed the shift, the strange tension in conversations, the subtle energy drain after certain interactions. Someone is feeding off your light, disguising their envy as concern. Their plan involves mutual friends, carefully timed messages, and emotional manipulation disguised as reconnection. Cut the cord, block the access, protect your peace. This person's energy is insidious, wrapped in false remorse and fake loyalty. Your ancestors are watching, waiting for you to choose yourself this time. This person you're thinking about right now, the one whose name made your stomach drop, there's involvement in something shady. There's money involved, there's business deals gone wrong, there's some kind of financial arrangement that's falling apart, and the situation requires a scapegoat. You walked away from something. Maybe it was a business opportunity that everyone thought was brilliant. Maybe it was an investment that seemed too good to be true. Maybe it was a partnership that your family pressured you to accept. But something in your gut said no. Something in your spirit screamed danger, and you listened. You walked away, even though people called you paranoid, even though others called you selfish, even though everyone said you were throwing away a golden opportunity. But you weren't paranoid, you were prophetic, you weren't selfish, you were self-preserving, you weren't throwing anything away, you were dodging a bullet, because what's being built without you is crumbling, the foundation is cracked, the empire built on shortcuts and shady dealings is about to collapse, and when it does, the situation needs someone to blame. The narrative needs someone to point the finger at. The story needs you close enough to implicate, but far enough to deny direct involvement. That's why the return is happening now. That's why the pressure is increasing. That's why mutual friends keep casually mentioning that name. This isn't about reconciliation. This is about preparation. The stage is being set. The narrative is being built. The attempt is being made to create just enough connection that when everything falls apart, your name comes up in the investigation. But you're not that person anymore. You're not the version of yourself who would cave under pressure. You're not the people pleaser who sacrifices peace for everyone else's comfort. You've evolved, you've awakened, you've stepped into your sovereign power. And that power is exactly what's triggering the desperation right now. There's bankruptcy energy in play. The whole empire is built on sand, and the tide is coming in. Proper delegation isn't happening. Management of what's been created is failing. This is that awful leader everyone hates working under, and the anger is explosive. When things don't go the preferred way, explosions happen. Rage surfaces, blame gets directed at everyone except the actual source, and now there's trouble, real trouble. The kind of trouble that comes with legal consequences, the kind of trouble that puts people in front of judges and lawyers, the kind of trouble that ruins reputations and destroys futures. The scrambling is intense, the desperation is palpable, and desperate situations create dangerous actions. This is why your spiritual team is screaming at you right now. This is why that protective masculine energy keeps surrounding you. Whether that's an actual person coming into your life, or just the fierce guardian presence of divine protection, you're being shielded, you're being warned, you're being prepared for what's about to unfold. This is calculated. Direct approach isn't possible because you've made it clear that door is closed, so something far more sophisticated is happening. Your social network is being mapped. Who you still talk to is being identified. Who carries influence in your life is being figured out, and then those people are being targeted specifically. Outreach might happen to an old friend you haven't spoken to in a while, someone who doesn't know the full story of why separation occurred. A sanitized version of events will be shared where the wounded party role gets played. Just enough truth mixed with lies makes it believable. And then casual mention will surface about wanting to reconnect with you, but understanding you need space. Seeds are being planted. Or contact might be made with someone you're currently close to, someone active in your life right now. The approach will come with humility and charm. Mentions of self-reflection will be made. References to therapy or spiritual work or whatever sounds convincing will be dropped. And this person will be asked for advice on how to approach you. The actual goal isn't seeking advice. The actual purpose is creating an ally. The real objective is turning your friend into an unwitting messenger. The most dangerous part is how patient the approach is being. No rushing is happening. The long game is being played. Weeks or even months might be spent building rapport with people in your circle before ever asking for a good word to be put in. By the time your friend comes to you suggesting you should hear this person out, that friend genuinely believes reconciliation would be healing for everyone involved. But beneath all this emotional manipulation is a financial motive that most people in your circle can't see. Connections are being built that look social on the surface, but are actually strategic positioning for something bigger. A network of people who can vouch for character is being created. Establishment as someone who's changed and grown is being crafted. Image rehabilitation is happening in preparation for what's coming, because here's what's known that others don't know. There are transactions that need explaining. There are decisions that are being questioned. There are authorities looking into arrangements that seemed fine at the time but look suspicious in hindsight, and your name was almost attached to all of it. The only reason you're not already implicated is because you walked away before things got too deep, but closer proximity is needed now. Not close enough that you know what's really happening, but close enough that association can be implied. The ability to say you were involved in the planning stages is needed. The suggestion that you gave advice, even if you disagreed with the final execution, is desired. Your name in proximity creates the opportunity for confusion about who knew what and when questions are asked. This is why gifts are coming. This is why job offers are surfacing. This is why opportunities are being presented that seem disconnected from this person but aren't. Someone might offer you a consulting gig. Someone might invite you to invest in a venture. Someone might suggest you come on board with a project. And if you dig deep enough, influence will be found somewhere in the chain. If this message awakens something within you, hype this video for other chosen ones who need to hear this. Operations aren't just focused on your friends. Your family is being worked with surgical precision. Knowledge exists about exactly which relatives you're estranged from. Awareness is there about who feels guilty about family fractures. Understanding is present about who's traditional enough to believe blood should always reconcile. And those people are being targeted with customized approaches. To the relative who values family unity above all else, presentation will position someone who just wants peace. Mention will be made about trying to reach out to you directly, but getting no response, and understanding exists because hurt was caused, but change has happened now, and family is too important to let pride get in the way. Perception will form that you're holding on to old wounds unnecessarily. The belief will develop that reconciliation is the mature path forward. To the relative who's religious or spiritual, the outreach will be framed in terms of forgiveness and redemption. Talk about a spiritual journey will happen. Mentions of prayer or meditation or whatever resonates with that person's belief system will surface. Positioning will present you as someone who's stuck in unforgiveness while change has moved forward in grace. That relative will then approach you with concern about your spiritual well-being, not realizing manipulation is occurring. To the relative who's practical and business-minded, a logical case will be presented. Mention will be made that whatever happened between you two is in the past, but practical matters need discussion. Maybe there's property to settle. Maybe there's mutual contacts that need coordination. Maybe there's professional overlap that requires communication. The presentation makes it sound reasonable. The approach makes it sound necessary. Your boundary gets framed as an inconvenience rather than a protection. And then there are the emotional plays being run that are designed to make you question yourself. Someone might mention to you that this person is going through a hard time, struggles are happening, challenges are being faced, support could really be used from people who have history. The implication is that you're being cold by not reaching out. The suggestion is that compassion is lacking, the goal is triggering your empathy and overriding your discernment, or word might spread that accountability has been taken, mistakes have been admitted, everyone has been told how wrong behavior was, excuses aren't being made anymore, and now you're the one who looks unreasonable for not accepting growth. Public displays of remorse are being used to create private pressure on you. What looks like healing is being weaponized to manipulate you into engagement. Another tactic is the nostalgia play. Mutual friends might start reminiscing about the good times. Remember when we all used to hang out together? Remember that trip we took? Remember how close we all were? These conversations aren't happening accidentally. Orchestration is creating these moments to make you feel like you're the one who broke something valuable. The desire is for you to miss what was so much that you forget why you left. Some of your friends might even get frustrated with you. Accusations might surface that you're being too rigid. Suggestions might be made that forgiveness isn't being offered. Claims might arise that you're making things awkward for everyone else in the group. And this is when you need to recognize that maintaining your boundary might cost you some of these friendships. But losing friends who don't respect your boundaries is not actually a loss, it's a revelation. Someone in your network is going to approach you with what sounds like a legitimate opportunity. It might be someone you trust, it might be someone with no obvious connection to the person you're avoiding, and the opportunity itself will sound good, really good. Maybe it's a chance to consult on a project in your area of expertise. Maybe it's an invitation to join an advisory board. Maybe it's an investment opportunity with impressive projected returns. Maybe it's a partnership in a venture that aligns with your interests. On the surface, everything checks out. The people involved seem credible. The business plan seems solid. The terms seem fair. But here's what you won't see immediately. Somewhere in the structure, hidden in the fine print or buried in the corporate relationships, is a connection to the person you're avoiding. Maybe silent partnership exists. Maybe consulting work is happening behind the scenes. Maybe ownership exists in part of a parent company. Maybe connection exists to the funding source. The connection exists, but obscuring is happening intentionally. And if you accept this opportunity, if you sign that contract, if you take that position, you've just created the association that's needed. You've just given the leverage that was being sought. Because when authorities start asking questions about business dealings, your name will come up. You'll be on record as someone who worked with or invested with or advised certain operations. And even though you didn't know about the problematic aspects, even though you were kept in the dark intentionally, untangling yourself becomes incredibly difficult. Pay attention to what's been happening in your dream space lately, because many of you have been having vivid dreams about this person. You wake up feeling disturbed. You wake up feeling like something's wrong. You wake up feeling like you need to strengthen your protection. These aren't random dreams. These are warnings. Energy is trying to reach you even while you sleep. Some of you keep seeing that name unexpectedly. You'll be scrolling and see someone with the same name. You'll hear it on television or in conversation. You'll encounter it in places where it seems like more than coincidence. This isn't the universe trying to push you back together. This is the universe making sure you stay alert. This is your spiritual team ensuring you don't let your guard down. Others of you have been feeling physically sick when thinking about this person. Your stomach turns, your chest tightens, your energy drops immediately. That's your body's wisdom speaking. That's your nervous system remembering what your mind might be trying to rationalize away. Your body knows danger when it senses it. Don't override that intelligence with logic that tells you that more forgiveness or more openness should be happening. And some of you have been experiencing interference in your life that seems unexplainable. Technology glitching, plans falling through, communication getting crossed. While some of this might be natural, some of it is energetic attack. When obsessive focus is being directed at you, when constant attempts are being made to find a way back into your space, that energy creates disturbances in your field. This is why cleansing and protection practices become essential right now. In legal situations, association matters almost as much as action. If you're known to be connected to someone, if documentation exists of communication or collaboration, you become a person of interest even if you did nothing wrong. And that's exactly what's being attempted right now. Enough documented connection is trying to be created that your name comes up in depositions and investigations. This might mean mentions are happening in business communications. References might be made to conversations you had in the past, taking them out of context to suggest you were more involved than you were. Others might be told that decisions were made based on your advice, even if you never gave that advice. A narrative is being built where you're more central to operations than you ever actually were. If acceptance happens of anything from this source right now, whether it's money or gifts or opportunities, evidence gets created of ongoing relationship. That acceptance can be pointed to later as proof that connection was still happening, involvement was still occurring, awareness still existed of what was happening. This is why your boundary needs to be absolute. This is why acceptance can't happen of anything that comes from or through channels connected to this source. Some of you are being positioned as potential character witnesses without even knowing it. Claims are being made to people that you can vouch for integrity. Suggestions are being made that you know this person well enough to speak to character. Expectation is being created that if called upon, you would defend. And if any friendly contact has happened recently, even something that seemed casual and meaningless, that contact will be used to justify claims. One of the more insidious tactics is making you feel isolated, so that when connection gets offered, you're vulnerable. Work might be happening behind the scenes to create distance between you and other people in your circle. Subtle doubts might be getting spread about you, nothing obvious. Nothing you could confront directly, just small comments that plant seeds of question. Suggestions might be made to mutual friends that you've changed and not in a good way, that you've become closed off, that you're not the person you used to be, that difficulty is present now, that anger is being held onto. And these friends won't bring this directly to you because it's all been said in confidence, shared as concern, presented as worry about your well-being. But the effect is that people start seeing you differently. Questioning starts about whether your boundary is healthy or harmful. This isolation serves multiple purposes. It makes you doubt yourself when everyone around you seems to be questioning your choices. It makes you feel alone in your conviction, which can wear down even the strongest resolve over time. And it positions the source as the solution to loneliness that was helped into creation. When outreach eventually happens, either directly or through a proxy, the offer of reconnection might feel tempting simply because such isolation has been created, but recognize this for what it is. Real friends don't abandon you for having boundaries. Real family doesn't pressure you to compromise your peace. Real connections don't require you to sacrifice your well-being. If maintaining your boundary costs you relationships, those relationships were built on your compliance, not your authenticity, and losing them, while painful, is actually freedom. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. Woldem Bar. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Now let's talk about what's happening on the spiritual level while all this earthly drama unfolds, because there's a divine justice mechanism in motion that operates beyond what you can see. Every move being made is being recorded in the energetic realm. Every manipulation is being documented in the cosmic records. Every lie is being witnessed by forces that see everything. You don't have to defend yourself because the universe is defending you. You don't have to expose anyone because truth exposes itself eventually. You don't have to prove you were right because time proves everything. Your only job is to stay clean, stay clear, stay out of the mess. Maintain your boundary, not from fear but from wisdom. Protect your peace not because you're weak, but because you're powerful enough to prioritize it. What's being built is a house of cards, and the wind is coming. What's been created through manipulation will collapse through revelation. What's been gained through deception will be lost through exposure, and there's sensing of this. That's why desperation exists. That's why rushing is happening. That's why every stop is being pulled out. Knowledge exists that time is running out, but your timing is different. Your season is just beginning. While one harvest is rotting, yours is ripening. While one foundation cracks, yours solidifies. While one truth gets exposed, yours gets validated. Everything you walked away from was divinely orchestrated to position you for everything you're about to walk into. This situation is showing you something about yourself that you needed to see. It's revealing how much you've grown. It's demonstrating how strong you've become. It's proving that you're not who you used to be, because the old version of you would have caved by now. The old version of you would have doubted yourself into compliance. The old version of you would have prioritized other people's comfort over your own safety. But you're not doing that. You're holding firm. You're trusting yourself. You're honoring your intuition even when others question it. This is evidence of evolution. This is proof of transformation. This is the manifestation of all the inner work you've been doing. And it matters that you recognize this growth, because it's easy to focus so much on the external threat that you miss the internal triumph. You're being tested because you're ready for upgrade. You're being challenged because you're prepared for elevation. You're being pressured because you're strong enough to withstand it. This moment is not punishment, it's preparation. You're being fortified for the next level. You're being trained for higher responsibility. You're being equipped for greater purpose. What you're doing right now goes beyond just setting a physical boundary with a person. You're cutting energetic cords that have been draining you for longer than you realize. Every time you've thought about this person over the past months, every time that name has popped into your head randomly, every time you felt that uncomfortable sensation in your gut, those were moments when energy was being siphoned from you. These cords don't require physical proximity to function. Distance means nothing in the energetic realm. Someone can be across the world and still have hooks in your field if you haven't properly severed the connection. And right now, those hooks are trying to dig deeper. The desperation you're sensing isn't just about physical reconnection, it's about energetic reattachment. When you make the decision to cut this person off completely, when you commit to that boundary with your whole being, you're not just saying no to future contact. You're reclaiming energy that's been leaked through those cords. You're pulling back your power that's been scattered across old dynamics. You're gathering yourself back into wholeness. This is why the decision feels so significant. This is why the stakes feel so high, because on some level you understand that this choice determines whether you continue giving your life force to something that depletes you, or whether you redirect that energy toward what actually nourishes you. This is a sovereignty decision. This is a self-ownership moment. This is you declaring that your energy belongs to you and you alone. As you hold this boundary, as you refuse to engage, as you maintain your position despite all pressure, something remarkable begins to happen. Clarity emerges. Things that seemed confusing before start making perfect sense. Patterns you couldn't quite name before become obvious. Behaviors you rationalized away before reveal themselves as exactly what you suspected deep down. You'll have moments where you think back on interactions from the past and suddenly see them with new eyes. You'll remember conversations that felt strange at the time and now understand exactly what was really being communicated. You'll recall situations where you felt manipulated but talked yourself out of that feeling, and now you'll know your instinct was absolutely correct. This clarity is a gift. This understanding is valuable beyond measure, because it doesn't just apply to this one person or this one situation. It's training your discernment for life. It's sharpening your ability to sense when someone's words don't match their energy. It's developing your capacity to recognize manipulation tactics in real time, instead of realizing months or years later that you were being played. And this clarity extends to yourself as well. You're seeing yourself more accurately now. You're recognizing your own patterns, your own weaknesses, your own areas where you've allowed boundary violations because you didn't want to be seen as difficult or unkind. You're understanding how your own conditioning has created vulnerabilities that certain people have learned to exploit. Every time you hold this boundary, every time you say no, every time you refuse to engage despite the pressure, you're protecting a future that hasn't manifested yet, but is trying to be born. There's a version of your life waiting for you that can only exist if you remove certain toxic elements from your present reality. Think about what you want to build. Think about the peace you crave. Think about the relationships you desire, the opportunities you want to attract, the version of yourself you're working to become. Now recognize that all of that becomes impossible if you allow this person back into your space in any capacity. Their energy is incompatible with your destiny. Their frequency doesn't match where you're going. This isn't about judgment. This isn't about saying one person is better or worse than another. This is about alignment. This is about recognizing that some connections served a purpose for a season, but have no place in your next chapter. This is about honoring the growth that's happened and refusing to regress just to make other people comfortable. Your future self is counting on you to make the hard decision right now. That version of you who's living in peace, who's thriving in purpose, who's surrounded by genuine connections, who's operating in full power, is depending on your current self to hold the line. Every no you say now is a yes to that future. Every boundary you enforce now is clearing the path for what's trying to come. What's happening to you right now isn't just about avoiding a trap or protecting yourself from manipulation. What's happening is a complete transformation of how you relate to your own power. You're learning that you don't need permission to prioritize yourself. You're discovering that you don't need consensus to trust your intuition. You're realizing that you don't need validation to enforce your boundaries. This is the death of the people pleaser. This is the end of the version of you who would rather be uncomfortable than make waves. This is the transformation from someone who seeks approval to someone who grants it to themselves. And like all transformations, like all deaths and rebirths, this process is intense, it's uncomfortable, it's asking everything of you, but you're rising to the occasion, you're meeting the moment, you're becoming who you were always meant to be, that person who knows their worth, that person who protects their peace, that person who refuses to shrink to fit into spaces that were never designed for their fullness, that person who walks away from anything that requires them to betray themselves. So here we are at the choice point. Everything has been revealed, the trap has been exposed, the tactics have been named, the danger has been identified. Now you have to decide, are you going to trust what you know or what others think you should do? Are you going to honor your boundary or cave to pressure? Are you going to protect your peace or sacrifice it for false harmony? This choice is yours alone. No one else can make it for you. No one else will live with the consequences the way you will. No one else has the full picture that you have. So while opinions and perspectives and advice can be offered, the ultimate decision belongs to you, and you already know what that decision needs to be. When the message comes through a well-meaning friend, you say no thank you. When the opportunity presents itself with hidden involvement, you decline. When the family member pressures you to reconcile, you hold your ground. When the guilt tries to make you question yourself, you remember why you set the boundary originally. When the loneliness tempts you to compromise, you remind yourself that temporary discomfort leads to permanent peace. Do it now or forever hold your peace. That urgent message wasn't just about cutting someone off. It was about claiming your power. It was about standing in your sovereignty. It was about refusing to be manipulated, controlled, or positioned as a pawn in someone else's game. The truth has been discovered. Operations are happening in your circle, working angles you couldn't see until now. But you see them now. You understand the tactics now. You recognize the desperation now. And with that awareness comes responsibility. The responsibility to act. The responsibility to honor the warning you've been given. This person doesn't belong in your space anymore. Not as a friend. Not as a business associate, not as a casual connection, not even as a distant acquaintance. Complete removal from your circle is required, not because you hate anyone, not because you wish harm, but because presence in your life, even peripherally, creates vulnerability you cannot afford. You've evolved past the dynamic you once shared. You've grown beyond the version of yourself that tolerated certain energy. You've awakened to truths that make manipulation visible, and there's no going back. There's no unknowing what you now know. There's no unseeing what's been revealed. So here's your declaration. Here's your stand. Here's your choice made manifest. You are not available for reconciliation with people who haven't done the real work. You are not open to reconnection with people whose motives you don't trust. You are not interested in maintaining relationships with people who require you to diminish yourself. This boundary you're setting isn't just about one person. It's about establishing a standard for how you allow yourself to be treated. It's about drawing a line that says this far and no further. It's about embodying the truth that you are the gatekeeper of your own life. You decide who enters. You decide who stays. You decide who goes. And right now, complete removal is required. Completely, finally, permanently, not with fanfare or dramatic confrontation. Just with quiet, firm, unwavering commitment to your own well-being. Just with clear boundaries enforced consistently. Just with the understanding that your peace is worth more than anyone's comfort. The window for this decision is closing. The moment of choice is here. Your guides are urging you. Your ancestors are backing you. Your higher self is demanding that you act. Do it now. Cut the cord. Close the door. Claim your power and step into the future that's been waiting for you to become brave enough to choose it. You're not the victim in this situation. You're the victor. You're not being attacked. You're being refined. You're not losing anything real. You're gaining everything true. And on the other side of this boundary, on the other side of this choice, on the other side of this test, is a version of your life so peaceful, so powerful, so aligned that you'll wonder why you ever hesitated. This is your moment, chosen one. This is your time. This is your choice. Make it from power, not fear. Make it from clarity, not confusion. Make it from love for yourself, not hatred for anyone else. And make it now. You've come too far to go back. You've grown too much to shrink. You've learned too much to forget. This is where you prove that evolution has happened. This is where you demonstrate that change is real. This is where you show the universe that you're ready for what's next. And what's next is everything. What's next is breakthrough. What's next is vindication. What's next is peace that surpasses understanding and power that can't be shaken and purpose that can't be denied. But it starts with this choice. It starts with this boundary. It starts with you standing in your sovereign power and saying no more. No more access. No more manipulation. No more games. No more. The truth is discovered. Everything is exposed. The trap is revealed. And you're protected. You're guided. You're backed by forces greater than anything coming against you. So stand tall, stand firm, stand powerful. You're not the victim in this narrative. You're the victor. You're not being attacked. You're being tested. And you're about to pass with flying colors. Do it now, chosen one. Cut off what needs removing. Close the door that needs closing. Claim your power that's been waiting. And step into the future that's been calling your name all along. The breakthrough is here. The moment is now. Your time